Hi there. Welcome or welcome back to the Big Sigh, a little corner of YouTube where we can just take a moment to just return to ourselves and make space for what's real in ourselves, Well, that's my invitation anyway. That's what I'm trying to do here. Maybe we can start with just a really big sigh. If you'd like to join me, you're really welcome. If you're able to take a moment to just pause and stop what you're doing, I'd invite you to do that and just to be with yourself, sort of just cut off the noise of the outside world and just turn your attention inwards. And as always, we'll take a deep breath, and when we sigh, when we let out, it's just this energy of like, okay, I'm here. I give up all this outward effort, and I'm here to listen now to myself and what I need. So that's the kind of energy that I'm inviting here. So, if you haven't joined us before. So nice big in-breath right into the belly. And if you'd like, just staying there for a moment. So easy to get caught up in the doings of life that we forget to, sometimes I certainly do anyway, to come back to myself, just see what's alive. And once again, what's so alive for me right now is this physical pain. I sort of have this chronic pain, as I mentioned previously, and it comes in waves, and I'm experiencing a really intense wave. This morning is tough. But I've noticed a pattern that keeps coming. My human, my sensitive, scared little human, I've noticed those fears come up of being like, it's like a panic because I'm in so much pain. It's like, oh fuck, what do I need to do here to figure this out? And I've trying to work out what it is that I ate that triggered me, and maybe I'll just speak about my this human being has really struggled with this pain and eating, and developed I think it would be fair to say an addiction or some sort of eating disorder, where I overeat, I binge eat, and I cave in to eating foods that like I could be on a health protocol to eat certain foods, and I just find it so hard to stay on the protocol sometimes, and sugar is my nemesis. And what happens in the morning or when I wake up with intense pain like this is it's a really self-critical pattern that I notice come up for me, which is not only like starting to think, oh, what did I eat that set me off kind of thing, but then there's this really unhelpful pattern, which is to say, God, you'll never sort this out. You don't have the discipline or the self-respect to be able to just eat the things that you need to eat and not eat the things that you shouldn't eat. And yeah, it's really like, oof, it's a really unkind, unloving voice that says that. And I've become much more aware of that voice, and it's trying to live with that, live alongside it. And yeah, something I've noticed recently in this human experience is that I just got distracted because I noticed that I'm not feeling very on it today. And this is the me that you get today, which is depleted, and the flow feels like a struggle. I'm trying to sort of power through. And this is my goal for these. This is my mission, that I've set myself, is that no matter what, just share what's going on. Yeah. And this may not be the most interesting this may not be the most interesting video, and that's okay. And I'm not doing it to be interesting, I'm doing it just to love myself more in those parts of me, and allow myself to be boring, and for that to be okay, and to share that, and to be seen in being boring. It feels so relieving. God, even just saying that out loud right now, it feels like, okay, cool. Just give myself permission to just be boring, and that's okay. Whatever comes is okay, and that is such a relief. It doesn't really matter. I'm not doing it for external validation. I'm doing it for me, and to, like I said earlier, find more ways to love myself more and allow space for myself and bring compassion in that. That's just so lovely, God. But yeah, just to go back to the eating. If there's a packet of something in front of me, I will eat the fucking whole damn thing. It doesn't matter how big it is. God, I mean, I've been quite good recently, actually. Where I've been able to bring in a bit more discipline, or a bit more resistance, a bit more self-control, And I think that's what makes it an addiction in my head, or like a disorder in my head, is that I am fully conscious I have such a newfound respect for people who have overcome addiction, because, oh my goodness, it's insanely hard. It's like my feeling is that my system gets hijacked. As soon as I get a taste for something, it's like, oh my God, it's so hard to stop the cycle, the process from going on. And yeah, I've noticed how I just lost my train of thought, and just with that, and there's also a process when I lose my train of thought. This video, I think, is just going to be a bit all over the place, because that's what my brain is doing today, and that's fine. Yeah, sometimes my brain just gets distracted by another thought, and then I totally forget what I was just talking about. And then this pattern happens where I'm like, oh, I'm doing that forgetting thing again. And then that makes it even harder to like get back to where I was before. Yeah. Sitting with some discomfort today, and the resistance of doing this video. And God, I procrastinated loads before sitting down to just bloody film this thing. But it's about just doing it. This is me today. yeah, maybe this is just space, and space for me, to slow down. And I'm here at my mum's house in Shropshire. Did a really long drive yesterday in the sweltering heat. Oh my God, it was so hot. Over 4 hours driving. We went wrong like 4 times. It's just one of those trips, Got back really late. It was after work, and it's really nice to be here though. It's lovely countryside where I grew up, and it just feels so much more peaceful than London. Tranquil. Yeah, and maybe, I guess I'm trying to be useful, and what I'm trying to do with this thing is use myself as like a test dummy in a way, and just observe the human experience within me, and then just talk about it and share it, right? And what I'm noticing is this monitoring going on as I'm speaking, which is like, is this of any value? Is this useful to people? And if it isn't, then it's a bit embarrassing. And I've talked about it before, but it's this pattern coming up again of, is this going to be useful to people, or are people just going to think this is really like self-centered, what I'm doing here? But that's the practice, and that is the challenge that I guess I'm sort of setting for myself, which is to sit with that and to allow space for that. That element of, well, maybe this is for me, and that dynamic keeps coming up for me whilst filming these videos. Am I just being self-obsessive? That's one of my real fears, about being perceived as self-centered, selfish, just that guy who's just like, look at me, aren't this is my life, and aren't I interesting? And you're all going to find me so interesting. That's how I'm worried that I'll be perceived. And that's I see that popping up in lots of different areas of my life, and one of those dynamics that I'd like to bring more kindness to. Just accept more and allow space for a bit more, and maybe that there is this, because there is this part of me, this inner child in me, right, who just really wants to be the center of attention at times, and really enjoys being that person in the limelight or whatever. And there's this deep sense, this other part, there's this deep sense of really caring about other people, really not wanting to dominate or be self-focused, and then there's also a fear, like I think that this fear is the thing that probably fuels this pattern that keeps going on, which is essentially just being really worried about being perceived as someone who's arrogant or self-centered or any of those things, and ultimately losing connections, losing friendships, and not belonging, and being kicked out of the tribe, that very primal fear of like, if I'm kicked out of the tribe and I'm on my own, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to survive. So it feels really like deep and ancient, that kind of fear, so I fear drives a lot of that. So trying to bring more love and allowance to this part of me. I think the more I resist, the more these things persist, as the old saying goes. What you resist persists, and in my experience that is so true. And there's a lot of resistance towards my eating behaviour, and shaming, a lot of shaming when I give in and I just keep eating. So I think the first step is to let go of the shame first and just allow the behaviour, maybe. I mean, I've been trying to do that for a while. It's really difficult, Like, fuck, man. Like, being human is really difficult sometimes. I find it really fucking tough. But just bringing kindness and letting go of that resistance when it happens, because in many ways, I've touched on this before, but like, I don't have that much control over this human. I have way less control than I previously thought or that I imagined. And these things happen. And when that urge comes to eat more sugar, it's like my whole system gets hijacked. And it's very, very, very difficult. Yeah, I was saying before what I think defines it as a sort of quote unquote eating disorder, or it's a problem, even though I don't think labeling it is necessarily particularly helpful. But how I perceive it as a problem is that I'm in that moment, I'm knowing full well that this is probably going to cause me pain, like later, but yet I do it anyway. I'm in that moment consciously aware I shouldn't be having more of that, more of those raisins, whatever it is. Trying to avoid sugar at the moment, so that's why raisins came to mind. Something I've been not very disciplined around recently. Nuts. Pretty sure my body doesn't react too well to nuts. So yeah, it's not being able to resist when there's that knowing that I shouldn't really do that and it's going to cause me pain, and I do it anyway. And then I wake up in the morning or whatever with the consequences of those actions. That's how it feels anyway. And I'm just like, you've done it again. Why can't you just, that nasty voice comes in, that really punishing voice comes in. Yeah. And that's the piece I've really got to bring space to and compassion to. That's the first step, maybe just reducing that punisher part. And also, I think just on a slightly different subject, I've noticed, I feel like I've developed with this whole pattern, this intense experience when I wake up in the morning or whatever, in response to eating something, the pattern is I then start thinking about, God, what food did I eat? Which food would be a trigger food? Which food do I know is safe? And I realize what I then do is make a decision about a certain food. And then I say, okay, I need to avoid this food. And then I'm kind of telling my body that food is bad and we need to be afraid of it and it's going to hurt us. So then I consume this food, or sometimes when I cave or whatever, it's like I'm telling my body that this is going to hurt me in some ways. And I wonder how much all of that is feeding into it, this fear around all of this food. And maybe that's where the sort of disorder comes in, because it's not a healthy relationship with food. It's like just a fear mode, of it's not this imagining that this food is going to nourish me and it's delicious and it's an amazing experience. I've got this relationship with food now where it's very fear-based a lot of the time, and I'm eating quite functionally rather than for enjoyment. I do eat for enjoyment, and sometimes I eat snacks. The snacks is the thing that gets me, and I have a lot of challenges around. But yeah, there's this real, I just wonder how much of it is psychosomatic, I've had this problem for years and years, and I recently had test results. I had this crazy two tests, where I literally had like a tube up my nose and going all the way down into my stomach. It's called a 24-hour acid test. So for 24 hours, I had this bloody tube up my nose going all down into my stomach. It had a little reader on the end of it, and it was attached on the outside to this machine that I had to press buttons for when I started eating and all this stuff for 24 hours. God, it was awful. 24-hour acid test, and I also had what's called a manometry, which is that was in the hospital. And you just have to eat stuff and drink stuff as you've got another tube going down into your stomach, and that's a really thick tube, and it's uncomfortable. It's really painful on the nasal passage as well. But anyway, I digress. Horrible, useful, I guess, but horrible. But the results that came back from that was that they didn't find any evidence of acid reflux. And that's really got me thinking, wow, that's pretty bananas, because it seems to be all the symptoms of acid reflux, like chronic acid reflux, but then they haven't found any inflammation, they haven't found any movement of acid. And that just got me thinking about, God, am I creating this? And so recently I've just decided to try and change that relationship with food, rather than it being fear-based, really slowing down and being like, eating this food in this moment. I also have a really like rushy, like eat quickly, stuff it down. And yeah, did an eating meditation recently, which really highlighted that rush. And so I've been trying with mixed success to just really imagine that, okay, let go of my next mouthful, be with this mouthful, and imagine that it's going to nourish me and it's delicious. Like, be here now, because this relationship is always like, and this is reflected in life, like trying to escape the present moment again, right? Like trying to rush to the next thing and living in this mode of rushing, and not being here now, enjoying the food that's in my mouth right now, the sensations that I'm experiencing right now, and allowing myself to slow down and just be with that. That's been great. So I've got this approach now where I'm going to try and just widen my scope again. I've limited the food so much over the last few years that I'm on such a limited diet. And whilst I'm not just going to be like, eat everything now, I think just change my approach to one that is less restrictive and fear-based, and try my best to bring stuff in with moderation and variety. And slowing down has really helped that. But also I'm falling into those same old habits. Of course I am. And my poor body, I just need to allow it to heal and give it the space and the love that it needs. But sometimes I just don't know what it needs. It's not easy. So yeah, there's a little insight into my challenges. And I hope that, my hope is that by sharing my stuff, it sort of resonates in some way with your experience, and you can relate to some of it, and maybe it can bring new awareness to it. And yeah, if you'd like to do the same in the comments, or send me a message or a voice note or whatever, and share your experiences, then I can learn from you as well. That would be great. So yeah, if you want to comment, that would be amazing. If you want to subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the bell, all of those things, that would be great. I'd love that, as always. And yeah, I'll wrap it up there. But thanks for joining me today. Whatever's alive in your world right now, sending you loads of love. I'm sure you've got challenges, as we all have, and wishing you a smooth journey, and that you can find some peace and contentment, and you can have space to slow down and really tend to your needs. That's my wish for you today. So thanks for joining me. Do like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And I'll see you in the next video. And as always, happy humaning. Happy humaning. Good luck on this human journey. Much love.